Hello everybody, my name is Ryan with Rhino Metal Fabrication, and I am going to show you today the kit that I made to bulletproof Ram 2500 Power Wagon front axle, and talk a little about what it takes to incorporate one of these axles into your off-road rig, maybe a diesel puller or a diesel drag truck that would benefit from having the Power Wagon 410 gear ratio, and it also has an electric locker in the front. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned, there's an electric locker in here from the factory. Very durable unit, better than just running an open differential. A lot less expensive than getting a ARB air locker set up, unless maybe you already have air and that's easier for you. But these come easy to wire up. As you can see here, this is the wire that comes out of the differential. And from the factory, it's going to have two pairs of wires. I separated it out so we can see that we're only going to use two. This is the positive. It's got a green stripe on it. The red stripe is the negative, or the ground. And these two, one's a black solid stripe, and the other one's just yellow. Those two are not used. So these two, we won't be using those. All you got to do is apply direct 12-volt power to the positive on here, ground the negative, and your locker will engage. So very simple. I'm going to use just a 2-wire relayed switch from like a light bar to power that up. Simple. Now the other thing that I have going, and I'm going to be designing a kit and selling this, but I came up with a way to get rid of this CAD, the center axle disconnect system, that has these two shafts joined in the middle. It pins into here, and this is a sliding actuator that locks the two shafts together by a control switch inside the cab. We're not going to use that. I want to get rid of all of this. It goes in here on the axle. There's a bearing that sits in this bearing race in here. So that'll come out. The left intermediate shaft slides down in this hole. You got to bring it in from over here. And then in here will be an oil seal. So I already took that out. This is what the oil seal looks like. It's kind of a pain to get out of there unless you have an axle seal puller. Then it's not too hard. But I just used a hammer and a long piece of bar, pounded it out. It's pretty simple. But either way, you have to remove this to get the inside intermediate shaft out of there because of the gear on the end. So plan on replacing the axle seal when you do this, no matter what. The outside shaft pulls right out once you take your hub and your axle nut off. Axle nut, plan on having a 1 5/16 socket to take that off. That's usually an uncommon size that most people don't have. 4 bolts on the hub, take that off of here. That's pretty easy to get that off. And then the other harder part is taking the U-joint apart off of the old intermediate shaft. You could replace the U-joint. This would be a good time to do that. Mine was still in good shape. I got this axle out of a junkyard. Everything looked really nice when I received it. So I did not replace the U-joint, but that is very possible. When you take it apart, you got to be real careful on the caps. If you break a cap or lose the needles inside of the cap, you're going to be getting a new U-joint. So it's a 1555 U-joint, very beefy, hard. It was pretty difficult to press those caps out of here. They had a little rust in them. You're probably going to want a pretty heavy press or decent U-joint tool. A little cheap Harbor Freight one may not do it. So what I got going is I'm replacing these two shafts with a single shaft out of an earlier generation AAM 9 1/4 axle. This comes out of an older Ram 2500. So what I had to do with this new shaft is this is where the original oil seal would be, right up against the differential in the older generation. Because they moved it into the CAD axle flange right in here, we're going to need to machine down this shaft back to where the oil seal originally was on this shaft. So oil seal road here, if I line these up, I machined it so that the oil seal is going to ride right here. So this is a hair. This is the preferred diameter from this shaft for the axle seal. Axle seal's kind of like a 3-stage rubber deal. It'll ride right here. This area has been turned down a hair less than this diameter so that the axle seal will just slide through it. Also, where the original one was, this is the same diameter as this, but this gets turned down a little, so that's no longer interference. So other than that, the axle shaft is equal. It's just more durable, and we're getting rid of this motor deal that when you flip the switch in the cab, it moves this, but it's also linked to sway bar disconnect and has some safety features in there that make it very difficult. So you're not going to want this. Some guys do take this off and put this back in here and just run it like that. Sorry. I am going to make a cover, bare cover that goes on here, CNC cut laser. So that will seal that off. We won't need to ever really access that again unless you got to change that seal. So that'll make that very simple. So what I'm going to do is put together a little kit that'll have this shaft already turned down, ready to go for the swap, a new oil seal, AAM factory part. They're really pretty easy to get. One of those. New axle nut. You're definitely going to want a brand new axle nut. These are a one-time use, torque to yield. So, going to get one of those. And the other thing that I could provide is a U-joint, or if you would like, I could put this whole assembly together with a new outer axle and a new inner and a new U-joint. That can be an option too. So look for that in the future. Next up on this mini series of this axle, I have a few other plans. I'm going to be getting rid of all of these brackets for the radius arms, the coilovers. I'm not using coils on this. Sway bar is going to go. I'm going to keep this for the new tie rod. I'm making a heavy-duty tie rod. What I did was I swapped this to offset ball joints from a Chevy 1-ton, and I'm going to use DOM tube there. So that'll be coming up in the next series. Thank you for watching this video. Any questions, just feel free to ask in the comments. I'll try to get all of them. Thank you.